So the pictures that I'm going to show today, it's a project that I started working on here in Chicago. I focus more on documentary photography. And can you guys turn the lights down on stage a little bit, please? And long-term projects. When I start a project, like I started this project, I started thinking about it in 2000. It took me about another 6 years to really start working on it. So this project is called Too Young to Die, and I started focusing on the youth violence going on in our city, in Chicago. And what I started to see parents, I started to see kids dying from mostly gun violence. And you know, I started knocking on doors. The first person I met, her mother, her name was Sarita White. She lost her daughter to gun violence at a birthday party. And then I met parents like Terrell and Pam Bosley, who lost her son in front of a church here in Chicago. And he was getting his equipment out of the car into the church, and there was a shooting going on, and he got struck. And today, that murder hasn't been solved, but Pam and Tom came out and became activists. So I started following that part of it too. And as you know, as I started noticing this more and more, I met people throughout the process, and they invited me to events like candlelight visuals. This candlelight visual was for a young man. His name was Albert Vaughn, and he was hit with a baseball bat at a birthday party, and he was only 18 years old. And his father also joined Purpose Over Pain. That's the organization that Pam Bosley, who lost her son in the previous picture, started. So, you know, these parents are coming now together to bring attention and awareness to this issue. And I'm also photographing the aftermath. You know, most of this comes to me after I learn about it. This T-shirt, this is a picture for a T-shirt for a young man who was killed. And this portrait just, you know, shows me like this, you know, these kids are young, they're strong, but they're, you know, they're being taken out at a young age. This is last year, 2011, on this block. This is like this week when this shooting started. It was one of the most dangerous blocks in Chicago, and there was 4 shootings after that. So I came here to photograph this memorial, and it started raining, and I started photographing this from my car, and this man came out. And then I was like, man, it's raining, you know, let me go somewhere else. I got invited to another event going on, and the same day there was a shooting, a police-involved shooting here on this block. So minutes after I left, there was a shooting there. And this is one of the first funerals I attended. After that, I've attended over 18 funerals. I haven't photographed every one of them. This is Sarita White's funeral. And this is after a shooting on the south side. And then, you know, I'm also looking at the resilience of this project. So last year, I received a grant from the Open Institute Society, OSI, and it's called an Audience Engagement Grant. And the grant was to bring my pictures in front of youth and an audience like you all, and actually, you know, talk about these pictures. And the way we were going to talk about them with the young people from the Chicago Youth Boxing Club was to, I figured, you know, I wanted them to write and use art as a communicator to let people know. There's a slide missing, but that's okay. And now we're working on laying out a magazine. There's a couple of slides missing here that were in order, but not right now. But we're working on laying out a magazine to distribute to the public. And my friend Tom Ting is working on the design of the magazine, and this magazine is actually our deadline is like in a couple of days. We're gonna put it out to the public. We're gonna have a show at CYBC and show the artwork. This is actually, that last slide was, there was a letter from a parent who lost her son to gun violence. And this is what the kids did at CYBC. That's their reaction. Trina and Andali are good friends of mine now. We met. Andali was shot in the jaw when he was 14 years old, and he survived. So, you know, I was looking at the aftermath. Now I'm looking at survival, the people who survive, the strength. You know, Andali at one point couldn't even move his head, and now he's like playing video games with his left hand and his mouth, and he's starting to like get up and walk. And this is a witness statement to the other young man who shot Andali, and Andali's mother wrote these. So I took these from her, scanned them, we put a picture out, and then we're going to translate what's on on her notes. So this is what she was going to read in court to the judge and to Robert, the man who shot Andali. And then this is a letter from a young man. His name is Mookie. He used to be at CYBC boxing club, and then he got arrested. They blamed him for a shooting, but he's now out of jail. They didn't find him guilty. But during that time, his brother was killed, and I attended his brother's funeral, and we're dedicating this book to his brother. And this is a letter that Mookie wrote. So he didn't get to go to his brother's funeral. Next, there was one more slide, but that's it. So, so yeah, this is what I'm doing with the work. I'm taking it, and I photographed it. I started documenting these situations, but it goes beyond taking pictures. The next level is getting it out to the public and bringing an awareness campaign about this issue that's really deep to my heart and to most Chicagoans, I hope. Since I started working on this project, over 800 youth from ages 0 to 24 have been killed here, and it's mind-blowing. So so we're gonna have a show, and this work is gonna keep moving from place to place in Chicago and hopefully around the United States and around the world, to bring awareness, but also to show what happens, what's happening to our young society. So, thank you.